Baltimore Ravens win against the New York Giants 35-14. That's not really the talking point because the Ravens were heavily favored in this game. Giants, one of the worst teams in the NFL, currently have the number 2 overall pick. Lamar Jackson in this game, though, 21 for 25, 290 passing yards, 5 passing touchdowns, and he had 5 big-time throws. It's not often that you get a mimicked touchdown to big-time throw number there. But I think what's so awesome about this, Dalton Washington on the review show pointed this out, a lot of those big-time throws, I think most of those big-time throws, maybe 4 out of the 5, were touchdown throws. And anytime that's the case, I mean, those are the ones that really stand out to you. He also had the 4 explosive runs as well. And so, I want to hear about Lamar Jackson sort of independently here with you and how he played in this game. And it just felt like it was the best version of Lamar. But it was also a reminder game from Lamar where, as the odds are sort of running away now for Josh Allen to win MVP, Lamar feels like he's having a better year than he had last year. And he won MVP last year. So I think the MVP conversation should be a lot closer than Vegas is giving it credit for between Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. But what did you think about Lamar this week?
Yeah, I mean, he's great again. I think people will talk about them playing the Giants. But they did what you're supposed to do against the Giants. And this is the NFL. Like, there's not a lot of blowouts like this on a given week in the NFL. They dominated them. Like, he was awesome. The throws, we've talked about this before on the podcast, but the throws horizontally, like going across the middle, or even like those speed outs that they like, he's so on the money with those throws. He's making plays with his legs like he always does. A stat that I looked up recently was when pressure gets to the quarterback in under 2.5 seconds, the league average expected points added per those plays is negative 0.3, which is like really low. It's extremely low. Like, bad things are happening when you get pressured in the 2.5 seconds. The only 2 teams who have a positive EPA per play on those plays are the 2 teams you just talked about, Buffalo Bills and the Ravens, who are number 1 by a bit. Like, you can't get to this guy. Like, that's the thing. Like, oh, we're gonna blitz him, and we'll get there quickly, and he makes a play. And it's like, oh well, we're gonna run a 4-man rush because we have this elite, edge player or D lineman, whatever, and he's gonna win quickly because they don't have a great offensive line, and it doesn't matter. Like, he makes a play. That's kind of where we are now with these guys, and that's what makes them MVP candidates, him and Josh Allen, because they're both doing that at such a high level. I think it's also just like when we talk about the type of quarterbacks we want to draft, that's why we look at these guys and we're like, hey, if they figure it out, these are the guys that are going to win MVPs forever. So did I love Josh Allen? I've kind of changed my way of thinking about quarterback prospects since Josh Allen, to be honest. But like, did I love Josh Allen in college? No, I thought he was like, shouldn't be drafted. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
This guy was just running around and doing weird stuff at Wyoming. And it's like, well, now we see why. Because if you can get a little bit of the accuracy down and the decision-making down early on, you just have a great player. And Lamar was a little different because Lamar was always a smart passer. He just, early in his career, the kind of execution of the play called for him wasn't very good in his rookie year. And then all of a sudden he like wins the MVP in his second year because that clicked and everything else is there. All the athletic ability is there. So yeah, I mean, I like everything he did against the Giants. I mean, they're like I said, the throws to horizontally across the field were amazing. He did also throw some vertical throws on the corner routes, on the kind of seam there for the last touchdown. Great player. I don't know. I don't really have I'm kind of okay with all the top guys winning this MVP award. I don't care if it's Lamar or Josh or Saquon. Like, those to me would be my 3. I mean, dude, if they put Burrow in there, I'm down. Like, they're just having great years, and and I'm loving watching all of them.
Yeah, I think that Josh Allen, I feel is such a runaway favorite because of the record of the team. You know, if the Ravens were sitting there at 12-2 as well, I gotta believe that the odds for MVP would be a lot closer. But again, I don't think that quarterbacks. I don't think wins are fully a quarterback stat. Obviously, quarterbacks go a long way into wins, but I think that that's a little ridiculous that it's as wide as it is. And I don't mean that as any Josh Allen slander. He's been unbelievable. And to be honest with you, it'd be really cool if Josh Allen got an MVP trophy because we don't always get that, right? Like the best quarterbacks, the top-rated quarterbacks, even the ones who go look at Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence never won a Heisman, right? And we thought for sure, of the 3-4 years that he was going to play in college, he was going to at least win one. And he didn't. He didn't win one. And so it's like, oh, okay, well, that kind of, it stinks. It's like his football career, he never really got that. And Josh Allen has played well enough over the last 4 years to put himself in MVP conversation. And so for him to win one, I'm not going to complain too much about it. But just what Lamar did with his arm this past week, the first big-time throw, the touchdown to Mark Andrews, where it's a too-high shell. They rotate one of the safeties down, so it's a little bit of a robber look. But he absolutely fires this ball straight over the shoulder of Isaiah Simmons in between the two safeties to get to Mark Andrews. And it's honestly, Seth, it's throws like that I will watch a prospect make. Like here's a great example. I'm watching Cam Ward from Miami because I'm filling out his scouting report for the upcoming quarterback class. There's a handful of throws that could be just like that where I go, damn, that was sick. I don't know if that gets completed at the NFL level. And then I watch Lamar do it, right? I watch something like that, and it's almost like you watch that throw from Lamar, that kind of throw, and you just go, cool. I don't know if that gets completed most of the time, but it does because he's got that type of ability. I mean, the throw in the corner to Rashad Bateman, just absolutely carving up cover 3 at all times. And you talk about, what he is like with his legs and how it's so hard to get him down. Man, as a passer, I know we're far beyond, talking about Lamar as a running back playing quarterback. I mean, we're so far removed from that. I mean, that argument doesn't even exist anymore. But I still think that this guy doesn't get enough praise for what he is as a passer because his timing was perfect against cover 3 against the Giants. The Giants played so much cover 3 this past week because they played man a lot to start the season and they really struggled. So I think they've moved on and they're like, well, can't play man, so let's just figure it out and play zone. They don't really have the chemistry within their secondary to play zone correctly. There's a couple of lapses in, okay, I got this guy, he's coming into my zone, now he's going into your zone, and just that chemistry is not airtight the way that it needs to be to play zone coverage really well at the NFL level. And the second that there was even a sliver of light of where he could throw the football, Lamar was not only looking at it, he was ready to throw, and he ripped it. And it's just so many of those big-time throws were beautiful timing throws of when to attack cover 3 with a lot of arm talent like we know he has. So that was also just so impressive to me, not just the overall ability, but the timing of when he was getting to it, I think was just so impressive from Lamar. And honestly, it has been all year.
That was also just a really nice play design on the Mark Andrews touchdown because they made it seem like Andrews was setting a pick for, I believe, likely coming across underneath. And then he kind of stutters for a second and then goes and completely killed Isaiah Simmons, like you said. I think Cam Ward is such an interesting fella because that's the type of quarterback that I probably would want to draft, right?
Yeah.
Like let's just take a shot at one of these guys and because if it works out, you have a quarterback for a long time that's always going to be in the MVP discussion because he's always going to be able to make those type of plays.
Yep.
It's just really hard to just to think hey, everything's going to be perfect all the time. And we're going to throw from the pocket and the coordinator is going to call the right play all the time. And it's that just doesn't happen. So at least early on in a guy's career, and we're still early on in Allen and Lamar's career, their ability to make things work when the play call isn't right, when they haven't set the protection right, when they haven't audibled correctly because of a different look that they shouldn't snap the ball into this defensive look, and they do anyways because they're just not there yet. And you can still have a positive outcome on those plays And just those are the quarterbacks that are important, right? Like that's just, I know it's hard to like believe sometimes because we see these quarterbacks who we love because they throw from the pocket and it looks like they're throwing with great anticipation and doing all that stuff, and their production is great, yards per attempt, yards, whatever, touchdowns. But then it's like it's hard to sustain these guys if they're not, especially early in the careers, if they don't have the ability to create outside of structure when the offensive coordinator is not calling the right play all the time. And so that's why these guys like Lamar and Allen and Mahomes and even like a Herbert and Burrow, especially Burrow this season, like they're always going to be up there because they can always do that stuff. They can always put out fires. So much of playing quarterback is putting out fires. Mm-hmm. You know, Tom Brady and Drew Brees and those guys put out fires kind of pre-snap and then quickly post-snap. These guys put out fires a little longer post-snap. But the result is to a certain degree the same, and it's exciting to watch both of these guys have MVP type seasons.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe the video, and if you don't have a PFF Plus subscription, you can get one to see all the premium stats that we talked about here on the show, plus the expert betting and fantasy advice over at subscribe.pff.com. The description is also right below, so if you are not a PFF Plus subscriber, you can become one today.